Welcome to my morning tea chat, not coffee chat. Today is March 22nd. I'm going to update you with some news about what's been going on with different student loan news as we wait the Supreme Court decision on the $10,000 to $20,000 of forgiveness. First and foremost, the media lately is highlighting a couple articles that I thought were compelling to share. Number one is the slew of private loan borrowers who, we had bar defense that forgave so many loans for those that went to for-profit colleges. There's like a list of over 150 schools, but in that, it's only forgiving loans for federal debt, not for private debt. So there were schools that basically pushed private student loans. I mean, illegally actually, but pushed them as a way to quote unquote give students more options for living expenses. So they pushed not just private student loans, but they pushed variable interest rates loans. So loans that fluctuate in the interest rates, and people who pay them for the last 15 years and only been able to pay a fraction, the interest just keeps growing. So they actually end up, after even 15 years of paying, they end up actually owing more than they borrowed. It's insane, right? So an article came out about some borrowers who said, well, how about us? We also went to these predatory, I'm watching the screen of I have a screen around my door come off. So that's what I'm distracted by. Essentially, this group of, people are coming out and saying, how about us? Like, we were subject to predatory lending practices too. How about us with private school debt? So I'm curious to see how that goes. I totally agree. Why should only be public school debt if they were subject to predatory practices and giving private loans? Why do people who are promised things that they didn't achieve, like all these different employers willing to hire, like the schools lied about all these things. And so people went there thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get this degree, but I'll get this job. And of course they didn't get the job. And then they struggled and they have this degree that's basically useless, but they happen to take out Sally Mae loans instead of federal loans, and they're basically screwed. So I'm curious to see where all the news and what lawsuits will come up as a result of that. Another thing I wanted to share real quick is it's interesting. One of the Republican opponents against forgiveness, Utah Senator, of course, a Republican. I shouldn't say of course, I don't want to show my political leanings here. I just think it's interesting that he's really against the 10 to 20,000 of loan forgiveness. But if you go back and examine his history, he's filed bankruptcy many times, and within one of his bankruptcy filings, he filed bankruptcy for $1.7 million of debt. I mean, that is an extraordinary amount of debt. I mean, how much money do you have to make to be able to take out $1.7 million in debt? It's crazy to me. Anyways, he filed Chapter 7 bankruptcy and then 3 Chapter 13 bankruptcies. And in that bankruptcy suit, he had a loan of between $50,000 to $100,000 of Parent Plus loans he took out for his daughter to attend Syracuse University. So I think it's interesting that somebody is against loan forgiveness for the general public. Meanwhile, they are filing for bankruptcy to discharge their own student loans. I just think that is like high-level hypocrisy, in my opinion. But I'm happy the media is highlighting that, because it's highlighting, wait, you're against it for other people, but you're not against filing bankruptcy to get out of your own debt, yet everybody else has to pay theirs. Like, especially when that's $1.7 million of debt, of all forms of debt, and not just educational expenses, but all kinds of debt. So I just think it's interesting to be against a benefit that you actually received. He actually received a discharge of $50,000 to $100,000, which is 5 to 10 times more than what Biden is offering to the general public. I thought that was also interesting. Not that that news is as helpful, but I do want to share a few of those tidbits for those that are interested in following the news. I want to end real quick with the news that the Department of Ed came out basically saying that it's going to take them more time to essentially do payment adjustments for their income-driven repayment account adjustments. So you have to file by May. Do not forget May of this year. If you have FFELP loans, which are family educational loans, or Perkins loans, and they're not direct loans, you must consolidate them and enroll into an income-driven plan by May of this year if you want all the payments you have made, or even the payments during this pause, to count towards forgiveness. You must consolidate them before May. I'm going to say that again. If you have FFELP or Perkins loans, any loan that is not a direct loan, you must consolidate them into a direct loan so that you can get those payments you have already made, or even during this 3-year pandemic pause, counted towards loan forgiveness. The benefit of the program is you can get up to 3 years of non-consecutive forbearance counted towards loan forgiveness, which is a huge amount of money. If your payment's normally $500, I mean, times that by 36, that's 5 figures of debt you could literally get forgiven if you comply with this. The news is, the issue is that the federal government's going to take more time to do account adjustments because Congress did not raise the budget that the federal student aid office has to perform all types of different programs, including borrower defense, including the IDR account adjustment. And then, of course, if they roll out forgiveness, they're supposed to execute on all kinds of ambitious student loan plans and also execute on a new student loan plan, all under the same budget. So it's going to take a while, but nonetheless, do not miss the deadline to enroll into consolidation. LoanSense helps people consolidate their loans. It's a very long and confusing process, requires 2 non-family references. And if anybody wants me to go through the paperwork, I can, but we help people with that. And we help people file into the right plan so they can get access to the increased amount of loan forgiveness. So that's the bottom line. By enrolling, it helps you get more payments counted towards loan forgiveness, which means you make fewer payments and you get your loans forgiven in a quicker amount of time. Okay. And it also means that you're on track, in the right track to not just get your loans forgiven, but to be in a program that accounts for your current life situation and salary. So if you lose your job, you can get a $0 payment, and that counts towards loan forgiveness in the future as well. So I cannot emphasize enough the importance of this May deadline. And I will make my thumbnail on YouTube all about this, even though I started with several other news articles. Please do not, please be generous with this information and share it with those that it may help. And please subscribe and like if this content was helpful at all. I do other content as well. I focus mostly on student loans, but I do address some other personal finance topics as well. Let us know if you have questions. We will answer. Oftentimes, if you leave comments and questions, I will make videos about those comments and questions. So that's all for today. Have a great day. And we're on standby to help. MyLoanSense.com.